Let's talk about new moon in Pisces for the year 2026. Welcome to the channel, esoteric cloud surfer here, leave a like and subscribe and let's get straight into it. In general, new moon means new opportunities, new cycles getting started and the ability to plant new seeds to grow into new fruits and new trees. But also, new moon can bring some uncertainty, some nervousness, and some senses of unfamiliarity. Since we are all going into a new space, you might not have yet developed new capable emotions, feelings, mindsets, or actions to make you feel safe and secure into those new spaces. So, even though that might be true, always keep in mind that you are creating something right now. You have the power to create anything at the moment. So, don't let those feelings of nervousness or insecurity be the focus. They're just a part of it and they can make things a bit more funny, a bit more fun and entertaining. And also, they will tell you where it's like the direction for you to go and then start developing the mindsets and the new feelings and emotions. New moon also brings a bit less energy and less motivation because our desires, our purpose, our goals are also being renewed and renovated. So now we're working on those things on a more mental, emotional, and spiritual level. And then as the moon starts to get full, we gain more energy and we get a bit more specific and more focused in our purposes, goals, missions, or whatever. And as a powerful spirit, you can motivate yourself and you can guide yourself and others around you by example in this new moon. If you trust yourself and our possibilities, the new cycles that you'll be opening or that you are open to will take you to the right purpose or to the right mission. And it's around new moons where you should force new patterns or things that make you uncomfortable because most people get more action driven around full moons because they feel unsatisfied or they don't feel validated or they don't feel like they achieved enough, and then they start to go crazy like a chicken running with no head. And actually in the full moons you should rest, take a break and enjoy the fruits of your labors. And if you have none, you should bask yourself in that energy to motivate yourself for the next cycle. So it's right now, even though there might be some insecurities, you still have to initiate those new cycles and not physically, especially because it's new moon in Pisces, it's more emotionally. Imagine yourself and feel good about those things. You don't need to feel extremely good, but if you overcome a bit the insecurity, if you overcome a little bit the unsureness in your mind, and you see yourself do those things and feel a bit giddy, feel a bit motivated, you're in the right track. With that said, let's focus in New Moon in Pisces 2026. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, co-ruled by Neptune, and Venus is exalted in Pisces. So New Moon in Pisces is an opportunity, a space to plant new seeds and start new cycles, to be more flexible or gullible with dreams, illusions, imaginations, spirituality, creativity, faith, and beliefs. This can allow you to bring more imaginations, creativity, or self sabotaging energy, more on the negative side, to your beliefs, to your faiths, to your spirituality, and to how you connect and receive to others emotions, feelings, wisdom, and how you and others are in reality in the world expressing and living by or not your faith, creativity, or spirituality. Also, you and others can be more open to external sources or external waves of emotions, faith, and belief. So be a bit more logical, use a little bit more the Virgo energy, be a bit more skeptical, because right now, or from now on until the full moon in Virgo, it's very easy for you and others to entice the world and the people around you with faith, with belief, with imaginations, with creativity. So you and others might ride the wave into a place of lostness, of manipulation, of you being drained, because you guys were set up to fail from the start, but sometimes it's unknowingly. Pisces reaches very, very far, and sometimes people have good intentions, they have good ideas, but they are creating these emotional waves and bringing others to those emotional waves that will lead to a place with less structure and less stability and less opportunities to channel your spirit, your beliefs, and your creativity into reality in a balanced, fun, but also logical way. So make sure right now to already have that bit more logical energy to balance yourself, not to attack, not to deny the dream, the imagination, but to make sure that you are aligning yourself, that you are reacting, being inspired, or being afraid of the right energies. So you ride the right waves into spaces where you want to be connected and sharing dreams, illusions, imaginations, spirituality, and creativity. And since the new moon is in Pisces, you can bring the energy of renewal or the energy of understanding and being empathic to all areas of your life. Pisces was born, quote unquote, out of the 12th house, and the 12th house is also, quote unquote, the last house of the zodiac. So, from that perspective, if you are aware enough and if you can handle all the emotion, all the feelings, all the thoughts, you can incorporate all the other houses into the 12th house, or it's more like creating a network from the 12th house using 12th house capabilities. You can create a network and connect all the other areas of your life, creating a bigger picture to yourself and to others. So now, since we are creating new feelings, new emotions, and new attractions in that area, you can bring renewal, nervousness, and inspiration to that network that then will connect to all the other houses. So from the 12th house, you can renew, refresh, and start new cycles in all other areas of your life, but not directly into that. It's from the 12th house, from dreams, illusions, imaginations, creativity, spirituality, faith, belief, wisdom, knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Relationships, pleasure. From those elements, you change what you have done so far. Because also, this is the end of the year. The new year will come in every season, in the equinox of spring. So, this is the end of the year where we can take all of the experiences that we went through since last Aries season and give them a new meaning, a new purpose, new wisdom, new knowledge, new fear, new illusion, new nightmares. You know what I'm saying? Because Pisces reaches really, really far, really, really wide, and really, really deep. So you can transform anything right now into something better or into something worse, depending if you are inspired by the new moon, if you are empathic and comprehending yourself and others, or if you are afraid, mad, or you have some type of revenge or grudge to share to the world. And like I said before, just be careful to not associate and attach yourself. Keyword, do not attach yourself, because this is just the start of the cycle. So don't go all in right now. Don't go and attaching yourself to emotional or spiritual networks or emotional and spiritual waves of influence. And also don't become too open and not become too loose in the emotional realm, because that can leave the door open for external forces to manipulate you and take you on their wave, on their wagon, into places that are not good or beneficial to you on a spiritual, mental, emotional, and even physical level, because you can be driven by certain emotions and feelings from you and others to move places, to go get a new job, to go on a travel to a new location, and then if it's not the right space for you, you can feel weird, best case scenario, or some weird shit can happen, you know what I'm saying? And the main theme for new moon in Pisces is pronoia, the ability to see the world and the universe working for you and in your favor and with you, versus paranoia, the ability to see the world and the universe working against you and far away from you. Since right now, everybody and every spirit has the power to bring their dreams, their spirituality, and their creativity into the world. But if spiritually, mentally, or emotionally you are in a more sad, dark, doomeristic, insecure, and afraid space, that's what you are going to bring, or that's what you are going to connect with. Be a part of something, allow into your space. So, right now, if you are in that space, change. If you're watching this video, you now have the power to change into pronoia. Believe that the world is working for you, because you wouldn't exist if it wasn't for a good cause. You know what I'm saying? All spirits that come to existence, they created that. They brought that power to themselves. because we have infinite spirits not existing, but we have a finite amount of spirits existing because they were able to do so. So if you exist, you already passed through a lot of challenges. That means you can pass through more challenges. That means that you have the power to create another form to exist, to create another way to exist in this current form. So if you are here, you created this world helped you create yourself. So you working for the world is working for you. Everything is possible if you are on your right path, motivated, excited to be yourself, and always with a little bit of skepticality to make sure you are on the right path and not being influenced by external forces that have no business with you. It's not about being good or bad, it's just about having no business with you. They do not share your same principles because many times people are hurt by good things or by good people or by good events more than they are hurt by the bad things because they got complacent, they got gullible, or just they got waved away into a place, spiritually, mentally, physically, that it's not good for them. You know what I'm saying? Since Jupiter is the rule of Pisces, this astrological alignment can bring new expansions, new travels, new wisdom, and new knowledge to yours and others' dreams and illusions, feelings and emotions, and how you and others communicate and see yourselves in areas that deal with faith, belief, and spirituality. With a co-ruling of Neptune, this new moon can bring new understanding, new empathic energies, or new ways to be overwhelmed by grandiose dreams, by grandiose feelings and emotions that are more like generational, either from your family line or from your peers when it comes to age or astrological alignment. So imagine you have Mars in Taurus. Other people that have Mars in Taurus and are close to your age, they are part of your generation as well. But also, your family line is also your generation. So curses and gifts present in those grand groups in your family line or in the people of your astrological and age peer field, you can now be more aware, more sensitive, more empathic, more afraid, or more rebellious because of other alignments that we'll talk later in this video about those things. Or you can just be aware of them and be, wow, this is so cool, so much information. You can get inspired by them. You can derive new conclusions to help you go forward in life. Or you can understand, bro, I was in a lost space. I was in a tight space back in the day because I was going through this. I was dealing with this curse. I was not yet able to use this gift. Or, oh, I got so successful in that area back in the day because I was using this gift naturally, or I was able to use this gift, or other people helped me believe in myself and use that gift that everybody else has the ability to use, but you're gonna use on your own way. And when I say everybody, is like it was already present in your family line, or it was present in your alignments and people that have similar alignments and are in similar age groups as you. And with Venus being exalted in Pisces, this new moon can bring new ways and new emotions and new feelings, new illusions about extreme love, pleasure, attachment, relationship, validation seeking, and pleasure seeking. Also, it can bring extreme insecurity, extreme copium, and extreme manipulative energies from you or to you when it comes to relationships, value, and commitment areas. But on the other hand, with Venus being exalted in Pisces, you can also create new ways to relate and share with others your own personal or things that you caught from the world and from your surroundings, wisdom, knowledge, conclusions about spirituality and spiritual science, how you see your spirit being impactful in reality, or how you learn from others, from videos or from experiences, that they were able to associate spirituality or the unseen into practical effects in reality. You know what I'm saying? And my advice for this new moon in Pisces 2026 is to be open to your creativity and your spiritual conclusions, explorations, travels, wisdom, and knowledge. Also, to believe in all possibilities, in a better you and in a better world, both around you, aka in your surroundings, and in general, as in the world, as in animals, the planet Earth, or its structures, organizations, companies, laws, and whatever. Because like if you don't believe in a better you and in the better world, there is no really point. Like I'm not saying you need to accept and force yourself to see that the world is good. No, it's okay to understand that the world or the world around you is bad and bad things happen and there are bad people in this world. But after you see that, after you go through that, or you get exposed to that information, it's up to you to be spiritually, emotionally, and mentally strong to still believe in a better world. Because all of us together, believing in a better world, will usher in a better world. Just don't forget to then take your action in actually bringing that dream forward. New Moon in Pisces, perfect for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, my final advice about full moon, about new moon in Pisces in general, is to still have a bit of your guard up and use the Virgo energy to be a bit more logical, inquisitive, and dry about yours and others' emotional expansions, connections, and any attempts from you or others to move a large number of people or you personally into certain outcomes by using common emotional and spiritual denominators that different large groups of people care about themselves, or in connection with different groups of people that have similar beliefs, or that are caring about things that bring those different groups of people to esoteric neighborhoods, aka to same principles or same ways to act on principles. And that I was reading that from you, from something that I read. So to be just exactly as I wrote it, because I think it was important piece of my personal advice to you. And now let's see how new moon in Pisces is aligning with the rest of the natal chart. How is it influencing other planets and how the other planets are influencing you. And keep in mind, this is a very general reading. So if you want something more personal, get a reading with me via Instagram or via the email. Use the links down below to contact me, know more about prices and how we're gonna execute the reading. First, we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces means that you are Mercury in Pisces means that you are thinking, communicating and analyzing in a more logical way how you and others are flexible or gullible with feelings, emotions, dreams, and illusions. Mercury being in retrograde means that you might be analyzing yours and others' thoughts, conversations, and ideas that were more emotional or more spiritual about the past, or you are bringing up or being exposed to past moments and past ways that you thought and communicated, and you are trying to integrate them with the present, or just analyzing them with a more modern and up to date way to think, communicate, and analyze about emotion and spirituality in a more mutable, flexible, or gullible way. With new moon in Pisces, this means you can create new feelings and new emotions about those processes. It can also mean that you might bring new attractions out of old patterns of thinking and communicating about spirituality, or you might be attracted to people from your past or to new people that are going through analyzing the same type of patterns that you used to do in the past, or they are, as you are, renovating, renewing, or looking in a different way to those past ways to think and communicate about emotion and spirituality. And at the same time, if you already have more logical energies in you, this new moon in Pisces, in conjunction with Mercury, can bring a more sufficient, intelligent, and logical way to straight up think, communicate, and analyze about spirituality, the subconscious, weird theories, conspiracy theories, but in the end of the day, connect that to reality and to points where it makes sense and can be useful and practical. Next, we have Venus in Aries, which means that you most likely are being more action driven, more passionate, or more frustrated about relationships, commitment, and pleasure. Or the ones that you are in relationships with are acting that way, or you or them need, want, or are demanding each other to be more passionate, more action driven, or more frustrated, or dealing more with each other's frustration. With New Moon in Pisces, you or your partners can be more empathic, can be more emotional, or more sensitive and overwhelmed by the intensity of the relationships, of the expression. Maybe it's not the relationship, maybe it's not what's going on, it's how the communications are happening or the lack of communication, because Aries is known for a bit of lack of communication or lack of care, lack of touch when it comes to relating. But Aries language is the action, is being there, is showing up when the moment is right in their perspective. You know what I'm saying? So with the new moon in Pisces, there might be new opportunities to comprehend and expand emotionally on those processes. As well, there are opportunities to feel more internal and sensitive about yours and others' events of that nature. And since Venus is exalted in Pisces, this new moon can bring extreme expressions or insecurities about relationships and values that are connected to your personality, personal insecurities, or personal motivations, or others that you are relating with. They think that you are too personal or just driven by your personal motivations. They might be reflecting, they might be mirroring, they might be projecting. And what they really need is somebody that cares about their personality and personal way to communicate and relate. And sometimes it's all about value, them not seeing value themselves or not seeing the ability to translate that value into reality. And now that Venus is in Aries, the frustration and the aggressiveness can come up more to light. So with the moon in Pisces, both you and them can be more empathic about whatever personal insecurities might be in the root of some extreme or distasteful communications, or just the lack of communication and presence in relationships, commitment, and exchange of values. Next, we have Mars in Pisces, meaning more passion, more frustration, more aggressiveness, or more motivation about being flexible or gullible, or maybe you seeing somebody else being gullible about their emotions, spirituality, and creativity, and then you get passionate or irritated by it, or you want to save them, or you realize that you are being gullible or too flexible with your emotions and feelings, and now you want to become more fixed, have a bit more stance. Because Mars, when they get passionate and motivated or angry, they become really fixed. The people that have more Mars energy, because if you think about it, the internal side of Mars is Scorpio, fixed water. Because a lot of people see Mars as inconsistent, like sparks of fire in the air, but they can be really, really focused. Not they, the Mars energy, sorry, can be really, really focused when it starts burning. You know what I'm saying? So this new moon in Pisces can bring more awareness or new awareness to why you and others are passionate, motivated, or angry. Not just what are you angry about or what are you passionate about. It's like why, like really understanding the machinations, the mechanisms that led that person, that group of people, that artist or yourself to that artistic space, to that artistic block, for an example, if that's the case. With new moon conjuncting Mars, there are new feelings and emotions and attractions related to your passions and frustrations, your desires and your confidence in yourself, and there are also opportunities for insecurity, nervousness, or the or the perception that you can't be sufficient in connecting and realizing your passions or frustrations. But even if those feelings arrive, just calm down a little bit, be empathic to yourself, go on a spiritual journey internally or externally, spend some time in the esoteric mirror, and realize that you have that passion or that frustration. That is the starting point. If you feel blocked in there, doesn't mean you're going to be blocked in the whole process. Maybe you just need a bit more passion, or instead of being so in one direction, you can use the energy of Pisces to bring mutability, to spread things, so you can find the best areas to use your aggressiveness and your passion, for an example. And at the end of the day, this moon in Pisces conjuncting Mars in Pisces as well means new emotions and new feelings about yours and others, spiritual beliefs, spiritual faiths, and creativity that are expressed or seen in a more passionate or aggressive way. And when it comes to real world examples, there are opportunities to create new aggressive movements or new passionate revolutions that are influenced or originated by faith, by beliefs, or by emotional manipulation. So keep your eyes in check. Make sure that you and the ones around you are not being manipulated, are not being emotionally swayed or motivated or put into a state of anger because certain faiths, certain dreams, or certain illusions are being broadcasted. And Mars conjuncting the new moon will bring a bit of balance because I said in the start of the video that new moon can bring less energy, less motivation, and feelings of unsureness. Since Mars is in the same space as the moon, itself brings a bit more energy, a bit more motivation, and a bit more confidence. But together with it, it comes the aggressiveness, the frustration, or sometimes too deep desires, or you and others thinking that it's too deep to bring it to reality, and that can cause some weird dynamics. Next up, we have Jupiter in Cancer trining the moon, the new moon in Pisces. This means new opportunities, new gifts, the ability to easily expand your understanding and how far you can go with wisdom and knowledge, specifically when it comes to your own emotional realm or to the emotional, spiritual starting points of yours and others' actions, associations, dreams, and illusions. Also, this can mean that you and others can expand into spaces of inspiration and spiritual power, but also that you now, because of the feelings of uncertainty, because of the feelings of not really knowing how to approach spirituality and creativity right now, you and others can expand into feelings of lostness and feelings or spaces where, since you don't really feel good connections or good spiritual support around you, you might cope with certain structures or certain groups of people that do not provide great support, but at least it's something. So you can then expand into those spaces and associate yourself too much because of also Venus being exalted in Pisces, giving that extra attachment and need for validation and pleasure, for an example. But in the end of the day, since Jupiter rules Pisces, it's bringing a bit of comfort and familiarity to this new moon because of the trine energy. But remember that Jupiter is in Cancer, not in Pisces, it's not conjuncting the new moon. So it's still cardinal, it's still bringing something new, a new way to feel and have emotion, new moods and new spiritual purposes or new spiritual starting points. And then the new moon in Pisces is aligning itself with that newness, with that freshness, but bringing it to something that was already going on or bringing it to a connection, to a network. So it's not the start of everything, it's just the start of something new into something that was already going on. After that, we have Saturn in Aries, fatal attracting new moon in Pisces, giving us the chance to create new ways to be flexible or gullible to yours and others' feelings, illusions, and beliefs in areas that deal with the creation and expression of new systems, new limits, new boundaries, and new associations. Also, we can have new emotions and new feelings and connect more to spirituality, what it means to be real, what it means to be successful, what it means to be responsible, what it means to survive even. Also, you can have new awarenesses and new emotions about the purpose, about the manipulation and the emotional impact caused by that newness in the world and reality. Or you might see through the illusions, through the desires, and through the purpose behind the ones pushing the new systems, networking, associations, or the new perspectives about systems. Not just new systems in general, that might not be very present in your life, but there might be groups of people trying to change what it means to be a part of a system, what you need to do, what you need to be, what you need to have to be a part of a system, for example. But at the same time, with Saturn in Aries and New Moon in Pisces, you might feel more inspired or more peer pressured to commit yourself or align yourself with those new systems, those new perspectives, or those new emotions. So make sure to have your own spiritual system, and if you feel unsure, just don't connect with anything, just don't associate with anything. It's better to be alone than in bad companies. And if you need to associate yourself with a system or a group of people, don't go too far, just go as far as you need to go. Uranus is in Taurus, sextiling this new moon in Pisces, so you have opportunities, new opportunities, to feel more open or gullible to change, rebelliousness, and opposition in areas that deal with safety, practicality and security, specifically in reality, in the real world, when it comes to money or status. At the same time, we can derive new, deep, and wide and behind the scenes wisdom and knowledge about how you and others were fighting against or going alongside the change and the opposition when it came to status and maintaining a certain position or a certain level of income or a certain level of security. On the other side, you and others might be influenced by new emotional and spiritual waves that can make you feel paranoid or paranoid about your practical safety or about others' practical safety. Pisces energy, it's like Virgo energy, it's opposing energy. Many times you worry about yourself, you worry about others. Sometimes you worry and care more about others than yourself. It's always an exchange. But you can feel more paranoid or paranoid about yours and others' practical safety and structure while exulting in new feelings of pleasure, attachment, and insecurity, or because you're feeling undervalued. And keep in mind that Uranus is in the cusp of Taurus and Gemini, so you might try to fight or balance this energy with more gullible, flexible, and mutable ways to think, communicate, and analyze logic in way more logical, cold, and distant ways. With Neptune in Aries, fatal attracting the new moon in Pisces, we can derive new emotions and feelings or be impacted in new ways by the expression or by the awareness of grand dreams, grand illusions, grand imaginations, curses, or gifts that are generational. So now maybe you were already aware of something and now you're coming to deeper conclusions, or you are feeling affected, feeling influenced, or maybe you already were being influenced and now you're realizing it because it's the new moon. So you can create new perspectives, new wisdom and knowledge about how you or somebody around you is dealing with, going through, or being influenced by a generational curse, a generational gift, or a generational theme, or a generational archetype. Like I said in the early part of the video, when I mean generational, can be from your family line or can be from your similar age groups or people with similar astrological alignments. You might imagine you if you both have Saturn in Aquariuses, you go through similar things when it comes to structure, responsibility, and association. So there is a common theme. And now with new moon in Pisces, you can derive, or them, and then share to you via relatability, can derive new conclusions, new emotions, new feelings, or new self-sabotaging, or understanding why you were self-sabotaging or why they were self-sabotaging, because you are now calculating, experiencing, and concluding a bit more, or with more logical ability, those grandiose, common, spiritual, emotional, subconscious aspects. And lastly but not least, we have Pluto in Aquarius, fatal attracting new moon in Pisces. And this is giving you the ability to derive conclusions or be shown some conclusions that involve new wisdom, new knowledge, and new abilities to travel, and new abilities to be spiritual and emotional about the transformation process that the world is going through, as in the world itself, or the structures and the systems, where the world is becoming a place where unique, consistent, humanitarian, and logical minds can be the center of communities, and then the people that are associating themselves to those new communities, they can be themselves unique, they can be themselves innovative or humanitarian, or in their own way, they can support those causes. And the world will become way more spread when it comes to big influences, big idols, big groups. It's not going to be as it's right now, where you have huge stars, huge political parties, huge football clubs. The world will become more decentralized and more personal at the same time. But the transformation process is never easy because you always have to detach from something. So New Moon Pisces can bring more empathy and a bit more the feeling of attachment. So it's not like it's more like so it's not so impactful, and also can make you derive more wisdom and knowledge about the transformation process on a personal level, or you understanding whatever the world is going through and how that is changing the people in your current location, in your family, or in the world in general. So let me read from my notes because this is important here, all right? So New Moon in Pisces, fatal attracting Pluto in Aquarius, gives you the ability to derive or to be shown new wisdom, knowledge, emotion, and spirituality about the process of transformation that the world is going through. That process is Aquarius like, so the world in all aspects is transforming into a place where unique humanitarian, logical, and empathic minds can be the center of a community, while everybody else that associate themselves with those communities have a place and a role to support or to be themselves unique, rebellious, innovative, and fresh. You can see this process in the world by how groups of people and organizations that were manipulating and limiting people, if you know what I'm saying, for their own benefit and illusions are now being exposed and brought to the truth. And through how big groups of people are now aware and opposing those weird and manipulative things that those groups of people and organizations were doing, allowing or supporting. So in that example, we have now the opportunity to understand at a higher and deeper level the why, the how, and the when of those things and the degree of influence it had or has in you, your families, your surrounding, the world, and its structures. If you are exposed to the more dark and doomeristic aspect of the Pluto in Aquarius transformative process, you can feel lost, overwhelmed, or with the need to cope with fucked up shit. But remember that now everybody has the power to bring their emotions, spirit, and creativity to life and reality. So if you are aware of the negative influence, stand up for yourself with empathy and wisdom to create or associate yourself with better beliefs, better emotions, and better faiths, especially in a better you and in a better world. And that's everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this new moon in Pisces, and I hope that you create better dreams, better illusions, and better spiritual connections. Till the next time, I wish you the best. See you soon.